So deworming, right? Once again, this is my personal deworming schedule, and with my experiences with canaries and finches, let's all keep this in mind whenever we are talking about something related to a disease or relating to treating a bird. The finch family, right? It's a very small bird to start off with, and the tricky part with these birds is they don't give you much time to react and take an action. By the time you find that the bird is got some illness, it's pretty too late. And by the time you react, the bird, the bird, the condition deteriorates very badly that you cannot save them by any means. So you always have to have a constant look at your birds, monitor any small deviations. Sometimes the weather outside can play a way that the bird exhibits itself. Sometimes you'll find a bird sitting a bit fluffed off just because the outside climate is very cold. That's a normal thing. But if you observe that for consistently 1 or 2 days, then it's an indication that something is not right. The bird is not able to kind of adapt itself to its outside climate and conditions. So my deworming schedule, right? When I get a new bird, I just do scat and ivermectin on the first day and give them a normal Vimerol or Alphabet to get the bird out of stress. And I know that people start treating with other deworming and I would say antibiotics and stuff. I don't want to rush out on that. The reason why I take this route is because and anytime let's take an example of a human being moving from one place to another, right? Being a huge, when compared to a bird, we've got a big body structure. Even for us, when you move from one place to another, the climate, the food, and everything has a toll. Our digestion system takes some time to adapt to the new environment. So I would not stress by giving a antibiotic or something immediately unless or until the bird's condition is bad. I would let the bird with the basic scat and Vimrol to be there, and the second or third day I just support their digestive system by by giving them some liver tonics, so that the bird can adapt to the food. And once the bird is able to adapt to the climate and the food is able to digest properly, then the bird starts building the immunity that it needs to protect itself from any kind of disease that might come up. That's pretty much what I've noticed. So I don't rush on treating my birds for anything. After 2 or 3 days, and once the bird is kind of okay to the situation, I would treat my birds for coccidiosis for 5 days. Basically, this is particularly common in canaries and finches because of the way they are transported. Too many birds cramped up together easily. These are things that usually tend to come up. So you kind of treat them for 5 days to start off with, and once that course is over, you follow it up with some multivitamins to support the bird's health system better. Now, for a new bird that I acquire, right, I've seen people feed egg food and sprouts and greens and all that stuff for a newly acquired bird. I would not rush on to that. I would pretty much keep the birds on plain diet, just to give them some time. When you choke your birds with too much stuff initially, they are just in their new environment trying to adapt to the climate. When you choke them too much, I've seen things from a digestion standpoint go for a toss, and they kind of get stomach congestion, and things like that are easily to happen when you give them greens. You see watery, they're you'll find dysentery that happens to the bird, loose motions and all that stuff kind of happens. So you refrain from doing all that. I would keep them with plain water with liver tonics and basic stuff until I'm pretty much sure that the bird has got settled. I would not rush on giving any ad hocs or supplements. When I say supplements, right, food and stuff. So housing canaries. So in I've seen people abroad hold these classic antique kind of cages. They are called canary cages. The bird can't fly. They just sit there and they just ideally be there singing all day. But I really feel that's a really inhumane way of keeping the birds. I prefer at least 2.5 feet in length and 1 feet height and 1 feet with. You can go 2.2 feet is also good, but I always prefer my birds to have a bit of length. I think the height and width really doesn't matter for the birds, because they really tend to use them, but the length do plays a matter. That's the one that gives your birds the exercise that it needs. So the lengthier the cage, the birds fly better, and that helps their digestion, and keep them healthy and active. During non-breeding seasons, right? Males and female canaries are to be separated and kept apart. I usually keep them in a 4 feet length flight cages. But the tricky part here with canaries is that some males or some females tend to get into condition a bit faster than the others, and one of those males or females that you've hosted together, when they come into condition, they show really great signs of aggression, especially the males, right? They tend to kind of fight pretty badly. So even though you've kept them in flight, keep a note for any quarrel or fight that happens. And if you find two specific birds that don't get along, I would say two males that don't get along, I would really separate them. So this is something that I just covered. So when you keep one bird, right, you can prefer smaller ones. And when I say smaller, this is just for the non-breeding season, where you can host them in a smaller cage. But when I say smaller, it's not one or something like that. I would say at least 1.5 feet. Now this is the setup that I have for my canaries. And if you can see, the technique that I pretty much use is, even though it's a wooden cage, you will find a divider here that is pushed upward. So this is a custom made cage for the canary. What I do is, when the birds are breeding, I tend to remove this divider, and the birds kind of fly with each other. And when they are in non-breeding condition, I just lower this particular divider, and I separate the male and female, so that they can kind of stay to their own cages, and aggression can be avoided. uh, I know China cages, or steel cages, whatever it is, people use them. I've had bad experiences. When I say bad experiences, right? There are outside pests, like I've sometimes seen the squirrels and other things that come to peck on these smaller seeds, damage the birds when you have a bigger size of cage. And then the China cages don't have a horizontal bar; they just have a vertical one. So it's easy for them. I'm just saying an example. There can be other predators that can outside stuff that can easily pick on your bird. So I prefer the ones with a smaller mesh. It kind of keeps the bird safer as well. So feeding, this is purely what I go with. I This is the kind of mixture that I give them. Canary seeds make up 40% of their total contribution. Niger, flax, and the fox. I would say Niger 10%, foxtail, red millets, and barnyard millets make up 10%. I do a small mixture of flax, hemp, and rapeseed, which is of small proportions, that make up 20% of their entire, mixture. But people who want to host them, and if you have a quality a finch mix kind of a thing, you can then go with canary seeds, Niger, and flax, along with your a properly made finch mix. That would be, I would say 60 to 40% should be good. But the proportion of canary seed is required to be higher, when compared to the other ones. They seem to have a pick on them. Fruits and vegetables, something that I've noticed is, I do sprouts. When I say, there was one question about sprouts, I saw, I do a regular, a plain millet, kind of a sprout. Then do a mixed kind of a seed. I see this mixed kind of sprout doesn't really work out for me. I just pick on the regular, the foxtail ones, and I sprout them, and I give it to my birds. And I use spirulina, which I mix either with my sprouts or with my egg food once in a week, just to keep just to increase the antioxidants, and keep the birds healthy. Egg food, strictly during non-breeding seasons, I would only prefer to give them once a week, not more than that. What happens with increased quantity of egg food, you might find birds coming into condition. Then you don't want, if it's a bad condition for them, you don't want them to come into condition. It's a rest period, which means you're seriously stuck to plain diet, and making sure that the birds immune system is normal. They don't get overloaded with things that are not necessary. They go back to their basic needs. Greens, once again, I would caution on using these in winter seasons. I prefer to give them greens, every day, I would say, on summers. Alternative days, if I use tropical amarnath one day, the next day it's caramel purslane, the other day, I give them moringa. So it's like a mixed kind of a thing. Don't follow, don't keep giving the same thing over and over. So it's like you can follow a 5-day routine. But when you start winter, I would say once in 3 days or once in 4 days is much better. The more, the greens are watery substances, so more you add during winter, I've seen it's not really good for them. They kind of tend to lose more energy, and you know their immune system, or I would say the digestion, becomes so loose that the bird kind of tends to lose weight, than required. So this is purely from the summer. Vegetables, once again, carrots, beetroots, they seem to have a real good liking for broccoli and for cucumber. But I've seen beetroots and carrot, you definitely have to practice them. They really don't take it on the first go. At least carrots are okay. Beetroots, I don't see them pick them that very often. So you've got to practice them a bit. Give them some time, and the way I would say is, don't force them. Every morning, if you can take the normal seed out and give them the regular beetroots, once they get a taste of that, they kind of get attached to it. So start practicing these fruits. I've not seen the fruits. Apple is a must. I would say that they're one of their favorites. They like apples. I've tried strawberry and watermelon during summers, which has worked out really good. But pretty much apple is been, throughout the year. I would give them, depending on the climate. When it's winter, lesser of apple. When it's non-winter, alternative days, a piece of apple, definitely goes to them. Mealworms, of all my pairs, just one or two pairs. Very rarely take them. I don't know. The birds that have been born in my place, they've cultivated this habit of picking on the mealworms. But the rest of the new birds that have come in, that I've purchased, they really, don't seem to show any kind of interest towards mealworms. The other key important topic about supplements is that, there was a question about multivitamins that I saw. The locally available, we have, there are a lot of ones. You have some nice products in Virbac. We have Groovy Plugs, Ambiplugs. You can try Bird Plus. But the key is, all these medicines have different ingredients with which they are produced. So one, for example, I'm just doing a direct comparison. So if Ambiplugs has an extra content of vitamin C, and Groovy Plugs doesn't have a content of, vitamin C, then you might want to give. I just give them once a week to support. I don't really believe on these, but just once in a week I give them multivitamins. But what I do is, if I give Bird Plus this week, next week I make sure that I give them a different, multivitamin, not follow them with the same one again and again. So that makes sure that, whatever is missing on the first product is compensated on the other. The second one is a must: calcium. You got to have a grid, eggshell, and cuttlefish bones available for them every now and then. And liquid calcium, you can, I prefer giving it, I've mentioned it once a week. But this is pretty much before I start breeding, not on the regular diet, because I believe the grit and eggshells do whatever it needs on the resting season. But the extra liquid calcium that you get is preferred during the breeding seasons. Charcoal is something that I feed them. Once again, I just add them along to my grid. So whenever the bird needs, charcoal is like a cleanser that they use. So it is good for them to be available. Liver tonics and probiotics, you can give them once or twice a month. It depends on, whenever is required. I really go by the logic of, making sure that when I say multivitamins, So 3 weeks I've given Ambiplex and regular Bird Plus or something like that. On the fourth week, what I do is I cut off the multivitamins. I go with the liver tonics, and once again I follow with the multivitamins. And the next month I start with some apple cider vinegar or probiotics, something that might be required. So this is the regular schedule that I follow on non-breeding seasons.